All right, welcome. So today in this training, we are going to talk about messenger scripts that sell. More importantly, we're going to talk about building relationships inside of Messenger, our direct messages, and across social media that are effective and efficient and authentic. So the contents of this training are is based on the teachings of Tim Irway, attraction marketing with Fernie Sabalas, expertise and information from the legends in this industry who have walked this path and are graciously sharing what works and a proven system with all of us. Before we dive into those teachings, though, what I want to do is talk to you about networking, what it means truly, and to create a perspective that and a lens that I hope that you can perceive this through as we move through the lesson here. So really, what networking means is connecting things or people together to share information and build relationships. I believe that networking is a skill and an art that is developed and strengthened over time with consistent practice. None of us were born just knowing how to have authentic conversations, knowing how to have crucial conversations. And this is not about manipulating someone to get what we want. This is about building relationships. In previous trainings, we've already talked about uh, the aspect of non-attachment, of being having conversations, having something of value that we can share with the person that we're talking to or the person that we see where we could fulfill a need for them. So it's not about manhandling, it's not about selling, it's about building authentic relationships. And we're going to dive into this information now, a 7-step conversation process that helps us to be more effective and more efficient. So let's get started. So this is how it works and where this fits. I want you to think of this as a low-tech funnel. So if you're not familiar, a funnel is just a pathway that we bring someone through. So funnels exist to bring someone from point A to point B, and the within the funnel are all the steps in between to get us from point A to point B. So again, think of these conversations as a low-tech funnel. And it begins with us putting content out. And when we perfect that content, we start getting comments on the content. And with those comments is an open invitation to then have a conversation. So there's a natural progression towards communication rather than a reaching out and asking people for information without them saying yes to begin with. So again, we are on the path of natural progression towards communication. So there's a low commitment, and it's not threatening for people to respond because they're resonating with something that we are saying. So there is a natural question-based process to this. And you're going to see that it's it's like being a consultant and having a conversation with someone to, again, gather information to see if they might be a good fit. So the overall process is that we create magnetic content. They engage with the comment with us in the comments or through a DM. And then if it is in the comments, we want to transition this over to private messages. We don't want to be having conversations in the comments, giving information about our product or about our business name, because this devalues what we have, and it also puts us at risk when it comes to compliance. So we want to always have conversations in the private messages to go deeper. We don't want someone to accidentally disqualify themselves because they perceive that they might know what we have when they really don't. So we transition over to private messages. Ideally, we collect an email address and we deliver a lead magnet or something of value in exchange for that email address. And then we move the objective to either a sale or a call where we can talk to them in greater detail. So the objective of this whole thing, this whole conversation, is to either make a direct sale or to get someone on a call so that you can talk with them. And it really is up to you as to which one is right for you. So when it comes to selling a large item, then you are probably going to want to be on a call. But when it comes to selling a small item that solves a very specific problem, it is more likely that you'll be able to get a direct sale through DM conversations. All right, so let's go forward and talk about the 7-step conversation process. So the opener. So you want to start by mentioning their comment. You want to thank them for commenting, thank them for dropping the keyword, thank them for engaging with you. Whatever it is that you ask them to do in your Facebook post or in your reel, you want to just thank them for doing it, for following through. And then you want to let them know what your lead magnet is and if they would like to receive it. If so, you provide them with that link. Remember, if you are in the Instagram DMs, if they are not a follower of you, or you are not a follower of them, you only have one shot to send a message and they have to answer you. So you don't want to make this overly difficult. You want to make these quick, short, specific questions or directions in the DMs. So I've got some examples here for you. The first one is, "Hi, Sue, thanks for your comment. Let me know the email address you'd like to receive whatever you offered for free in exchange for their email." Another one is, "Got it. I just sent it over. Can you let me know if you received it?" So perhaps you're just going to send the direct link to them because you've already received their email. Remember, the whole process of this is to grab an email from them, to exchange an email for a delivery of an object. You never want to give away something for free without getting contact information from them, because you have something of value and their email is valuable to them. And building your email list gives you leverage. It gives you a business asset. If something should happen to social media, you are still able to contact this person. It also allows you to be able to have conversation with them. So we always want to provide them with an opportunity to provide their email address in exchange for the item of value that you have created. And these items of value are getting more and more intricate as AI comes into the picture. They're getting more and more interesting. And our customers, our audience, is demanding a little bit more interaction in the lead magnet. But we can talk about that in an upcoming training as well. So step number 2 goes on to the connection. We want to build rapport. We want to establish trust. Trust is the most important thing that we can start creating. So think about what builds trust for you, right? What builds trust for me is getting asked questions, getting asked permission to move on to the next step. We can ask what is their biggest concern, what is their top reason that they replied to the post that we made. We can give them what is your top health concern. If our post was about health, is it sleep? Is it digestion? Is it stress? We can be more specific. What specifically about your hormones is the most troubling for you or is the most challenging for you? So we are showing a genuine sense of care and concern in the DMs. I think for me, when I first started with network marketing, I was so afraid of the conversations that I forgot how to be a person. And that's why I started out with this conversation today and this training with what it means to be a networker. You are building relationships, creating communities, connecting people with other people who have something of value, who share something in common. So let's be real and authentic and have conversations and show genuine care. In a world where AI is taking over, so many people are and giving up on showing up authentically and relying on AI a little bit too much, perhaps sometimes. We are craving community, connection, and someone who cares. And so let's build connection inside of these conversations. Ultimately, we want to get these products into people's hands because we believe in the products and we want people to feel better. But in that process, we might have two conversations or we might have 500 conversations. And we're only going to get to the end result by building trust. And the truth is that there are times when we will never get the sale, and that's okay. We still have a friend, a follower, a person in our community that perhaps may be interested in something else that we have down the line. All right, so part number three of this 7-step process is this discovery. And this is the most important part of the process. And I've already talked about this quite a bit, right? So it's we want to understand what their challenge is. We want to understand what they want, what they need. So there's a lot of groups on Facebook. There's a lot of places out there in the comments where people spew and talk about all sorts of stuff, and they go down rabbit holes. And the only way that we can get real honed in on what somebody actually wants and actually needs is to ask questions. And this is where uh, number three of this 7-part process comes in, the discovery, where we really go deeper and we start showing up as that authentic person, as I've already explained. So here are some example questions that you might use. What challenges are you currently facing with hormone imbalance? What have you tried in the past? And what about that worked or didn't work for you? You mentioned that you're having trouble sleeping. Can you tell me more about that? What have you tried? How important is it for you to solve this problem and be able to sleep through the night? How important is it for you to improve how you feel and experience less anxiety? So these are just some examples of how we can show up in our DMs, in phone conversations as a real person who authentically cares. All right. Number 4 is the actual invitation. So the way that our system is set up is so that you can use one of our Facebook groups, the Radiant Living Facebook group, as a ATM system. And we're going to have additional training on ATM, but I want to mention it here because it's another option for you. So with the invitation, we are inviting them to take a look. So we're either doing that in the DM conversation. We're saying, thanks for sharing something important about yourself. That means a lot to me that you trust me. I think I might have a way to help you solve your sleep issues or help you feel less anxious. Would you be open to hearing more about it? We are asking for permission again so that we can go a step further with them and go a step further. Every step we ask permission. So when it comes to the ATM groups, we might be having a conversation with them in the Facebook DMs and say, hey, would you like to take a closer look? Would you like to watch this 3-minute video? Would you like to learn more about that product that I have? And then we would add them, invite them to the Facebook group. Once they get approved into the Facebook group and they accept that invitation, then you would go back to them in Messenger and say, I tagged you in a post in the Facebook group. I like to provide them with the link to the actual post in Facebook as well in the DMs. And so that's the message part. And it now allows them to come into this group where they will get exposed to more and more information about our products, our culture, what we think is important, how we live, and why we do it. And so if they're not ready to buy or take things to the next level in the DMs, using the ATM group is really helpful because now you have brought them into that environment and other people can help you start to do the education along with yourself. So you're not doing all of the heavy lifting. All right, step number five is the prescription. So if we're following along this process in the messenger, what we're going to do now is we're going to look back at what did we learn in the discovery process when we're having authentic conversation, not awkward questions where we're asking them 10 questions, but we're getting very specific on the questions that we ask. And then we're coming back and we're saying, okay, based on the fact that you told me you're not getting enough sleep. The average sleep you get each night is about 3 to 5 hours. You're waking up feeling really tired. And you are looking for something to help you with this because you know the impact that not getting enough sleep is having on you, your health, and your enjoyment of life. I think I might have something that helps. Here's what I would recommend. Our Serenity system has this benefit, that benefit, and you can validate the product for them. All right. Step number 6 is your close. And so this is where you give your call to action, where you're posturing your question and you're assuming the yes. So example closing statements is, it sounds like Serenity is a great fit for you. Are you ready to get started? Or the next step is to schedule a call to discuss your sleep goals. Do you have time on Thursday, for example? So we're assuming that they're going to take the next step. We're assuming they're going to say yes. This is very important because it's psychology that most of us would decline an invitation if we're given the opportunity to say no. And so we always want to assume the yes, give them the benefit of the doubt that if they're this far in the conversation with you, it's something that they truly want and desire. And we want to help them say yes to themselves. All right, number 7 is probably the most important thing here, and that is follow up. I have seen so many times where not following up has actually resulted in someone else getting a sale or in destroying the relationship altogether. So remember, we're in the business of building relationships, building connections, friendships, communities. That is our business. And the side benefit to that is that we also sell products. And the other benefit to that is those products actually help and improve people's lives. But first and foremost, as a networker, as a network marketer, we are building relationships authentically and in a real way, using our real personality. And following up is critical. Following up means we care. And dropping the ball and not following up because we don't want to bother somebody, or we don't like to talk on the phone, or we don't like to impose in someone's text messages, it's not closing the loop, right? And it's basically undoing all of the hard work that you already did, because the message and the clear message that you're sending to your prospect is you don't really care. You didn't really care, and you were just interested in selling the product. And because I'm not sure, or because I'm not ready, or whatever, I'm not important to you. So always, always, always follow up. Remember, sometimes we're just checking in with someone. Sometimes we're just saying happy birthday. Sometimes we're just saying, hey, I was thinking of you. Hey, I came across your name. Hey, it's been a little while. So in this particular case, when we're doing the 7-step process, We're following up to see what they thought of the lead magnet, what they thought of the video we sent them, what they thought of the post that we tagged them in. So we're following up specifically on something that we shared with them. If the answer, whether the answer is yes or whether the answer is no on selling the product, it is our job to continue building that relationship. That's what we signed up for as a network marketer. And that is what builds a strong foundation for a network marketing business that lasts. Reframing your thought in, I am in this for the long haul, and I am in this to build a solid, lasting relationship with someone is going to help you come across authentically and real and caring and compassionate and human. All right, so let's just recap the process. First, you've got the opener where you are responding to a keyword that they dropped in the comments or a comment they made inside of your comments. Perhaps in the comments they said, "Oh, I can relate." This opens up a doorway for you to then have a conversation in the DMs. So you go over and say, "Hey, thanks for your comment. How is it that you can relate? Tell me more." And then you go back to your post, their comment, and you say, "Sent you a DM," as a reply to their comment. And then the connection. The connection is where you, again, your conversation in that DM, that very first response, that very first either reach out or reply is what's building that connection. And we want it to be authentic. We don't want it to be cookie cutter. We don't want to sound like we're AI. We want to actually be a real person that cares. So sometimes it's about asking a question. What is it that they need? Which moves us into number 3, which is the discovery. Here's where we're seeking. What are they actually looking for? What is their actual problem? What could they possibly benefit from? All in a way from their perspective. You are gathering information in the discovery process, not as someone who's interrogating them, but as someone who genuinely cares. You're with your friend, you are with an acquaintance, and you are having coffee. What question might you ask this person if they were sitting right across from you? Moving on to number 4 with the invitation. This is where you've gathered enough information to realize that perhaps you have something that might help them. And so you invite them to see if they're interested in learning any more. If they are, then you move on to the prescription, which is the clear statement of how you believe your product could help them in some way with their specific problem that they've already stated is of concern to them. You're not making problems up. You're not telling them what it is that they need. You are giving them what they want. And then we come to the close and the follow-up, right? Where we thank them for taking a look and we ask them what they thought. So a large part of this process truly is about listening. And it's about perceiving the world through their eyes so that we can effectively and efficiently help them in the best way possible. All right. If you have questions about this process and questions along the way, then please put your questions in our Rise to Radiance leadership business building Facebook group. Someone can help you there. Reach out to me directly. I'm always up for having conversations on how I can help and support you.